You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That being said, if Syracuse really is truly pursuing Steve Angeli, and this is real and all indications seem to be that it is, then it means one of two things for Rickie Collins. Number one, let's give him the benefit of the doubt here. Rickie Collins' injury is more serious than what's being reported. For those that are unaware, Rickie Collins was named the starting quarterback by Syracuse head coach Fran Brown. We were all excited. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion. I mean, you were obviously going to name him the starter. You just got him from LSU in the transfer portal. No duh. He beat out the competition, Jakhari Williams and Michael Johnson and the true freshman. He was named the starting quarterback. The spring game was shortly thereafter. I believe it was on April 12th. And right before the spring game, it's announced that Rickie Collins is not going to play with a hand injury. But it was good news. Even though he wasn't going to play, which is obviously a bummer, it was told to all of us that the injury was not necessarily that serious. That at the very least, he was most likely going to be ready for fall camp. However, if Syracuse is truly pursuing Steve Angeli, we have to consider there are one or two possibilities as to why they might be doing so. And this is probably the first possibility, which is Rickie Collins' hand injury that we're being told is not serious might be more serious than what we're being told. Now, Fran Brown, I mean, he doesn't really have a track record of lying or, not telling the truth to the media. He's very honest, very forthcoming. But Syracuse does have a history, and it's not necessarily Fran Brown, but it does have a history of downplaying injuries or not telling us things, and then all of a sudden, bombshell report. I can think of two off the top of my head. Oronde Gadsden in 2023 suffers a lower body injury. I believe it was like his foot or ankle, what they told us, against Western Michigan. It was very early in that game. He left the game. He was on crutches on the sideline. I remember that game because I actually called play-by-play for that game. Jalen Buckley goes like 80 yards, second play of the game. I remember that very well. So Oronde Gadsden misses the rest of the game. Dino Babers, obviously he's not Fran Brown. He's in his press conference, and he's like, yeah, he's going to be fine. I think he's probably said he's got a little owie, which is what Dino Babers loved to say. He's got an owie. It's going to be okay. And that was the reporting over throughout the week. Oronde Gadsden was going to be fine. And then about an hour before kickoff, Syracuse was playing Purdue the next week. Bombshell report. Oronde Gadsden out for the season, broken foot. So that's one example of them downplaying an injury. Want to know another example of them downplaying an injury? Let's go to the court. Let's go to the hardwood. Let's talk Syracuse basketball. How about Donnie Freeman? Plays against Florida State in early January. It's then announced days after that, hey, he's day-to-day with a lower body injury. I believe they called it like a right leg injury. Oh, he'll be day-to-day. He'll be fine. Does not play the rest of the season. I'm not saying Fran Brown is lying, but what I am saying is that if you are pursuing Steve Angeli, there are one or two reasons why. And the first possibility is the injury that we're being told is not serious to Rickie Collins' hand, may be more serious than we thought. Maybe he won't be ready by fall camp. Maybe week one is in jeopardy. Number two, want to go to the other theory? Rickie Collins isn't the guy. I know y'all probably don't want to hear that. I understand. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here with Steve Angeli and him visiting Syracuse. Look, we knew that Syracuse was going to pursue a quarterback in the spring portal cycle. We knew that. The $1 million question was what type? What type of quarterback is Syracuse going to go after? You're going to go one that doesn't challenge for the starting job like a Zach Gibson, which I told on the first segment, or are you going to go for one that can actually start? Steve Angeli can actually start. If Syracuse is pursuing another starting quarterback in the portal, What does that say about Rickie Collins? Sure, Rickie Collins may have been good enough to win a quarterback battle over the last few months, beating out Michael Johnson Jr., beating out Jakhari Williams, beating out the true freshman. He might have been good enough to do that. But this staff has had months to look at Rickie Collins. They've had months to do it. They got him in late December. They've seen him throw. They have seen him with the offense. Maybe they just don't believe he's got it. Maybe they're not ready to turn it over to Rickie Collins. I know they named him the starting quarterback. I understand. But why are you then going after Steve Angeli? What do you think? I want to hear from you in the comments section below. Because I don't know. Is it an injury? Is it that they don't believe in Rickie Collins? Or is it just a check-in visit? Maybe. I also want to be very clear. This does not, in my opinion, relate to the Trevor Pena situation. I want to be very clear on that. I don't think it does at all. I know there was talk about how Trevor Pena had concerns about the quarterback situation. So, now Syracuse is responding by going after Steve Angeli. I think Trevor Pena left for the money. I believe he brought up the quarterback situation as leverage to try to get more money. The only relationship I see between maybe Steve Angeli and Trevor Pena is that whatever money Syracuse had set aside for Trevor Pena, well, now it's free to be used elsewhere. So maybe they could actually just use that money to go get Steve Angeli. I do want to be very clear on that. Now, my prediction, I think if Steve Angeli commits to Syracuse, Rickie Collins just may enter the transfer portal again.